Hello and welcome here to Talk SCB, and welcome back here to the channel, guys, and welcome to the preview of Barcelona against Olympiacos. The Champions League returns this midweek. It is game week 3 and we face Olympiacos live from the Camp Nou. As always, guys, the preview is coming to you courtesy of OneFootball, and on their app 91% of the users have voted. 50,000 people have voted on their app. 91% of those believe that Barcelona will win tomorrow night at the Camp Nou against Olympiacos. So the OneFootball app is in the description down below, as always, for your news, your commentary, your lineups, everything on the app. It does kick off at 8:45 local time. Here's some of the times around the world that the game will kick off. In the other game in the group, Juventus will face Sporting CP at home. Juve will be playing them at home. They also played Olympiacos at home in their last game. And the group currently stands as follows. Barcelona, of course, so far in the Champions League, 2 out of 2 wins. We beat Juve at the Camp Nou on the opening game week. Then we went away to Sporting Lisbon. Just about got through that game thanks to that own goal. So we've got currently 6 out of 6 points. We're comfortably at the top of the group. And then it's joint second. Sporting Lisbon and Juventus both have 3 points apiece. Juve beat Olympiacos and so did Sporting. That leaves Olympiacos rock bottom of the group with 0 points so far and 2 defeats. So overall so far it has not been a great Champions League campaign for Olympiacos, and their task coming to the Camp Nou is not going to be easy at all. Although we had a bit of a blip at the weekend in La Liga, we are currently top by 4 points. Valencia in second place, our closest competitors. Domestically for Olympiacos, it is not going too well either. They're currently in 5th place in the Greek Super League, and they are 4 points currently off the top of the league. And their win at the weekend, which was by 4 goals to 3, that was actually their first win in quite a few weeks. Before that, they'd had 3 successive losses in all competitions. So right now, for Olympiacos, they're a bit low on confidence. They did win at the weekend. We did stumble at the weekend, of course, against Atletico Madrid. But at the end of the day, a 1-1 draw away at Atletico, a very tough stadium, a very, very good team, not just in Spain, but around Europe. Atletico Madrid, very widely respected. It was a decent point. We've stayed top of the league. We didn't lose the game. Our unbeaten run is still going in all competitions, and we will be going into this game with quite a bit of confidence. I do believe our start of the Champions League has been very, very solid. I think we were excellent on that game against Juventus, 3-0 at home. We were really, really good. We put them to the sword. We finished our chances, and we played very, very nicely as well. The away game against Sporting wasn't quite as good. 1-0 on the night. It could have easily been a draw that game. We didn't play very convincingly. The players that were on the pitch didn't always do the right things. They weren't definitely at their best. We did a lot of defending on that night, and like I say, it was only courtesy of that own goal that we actually got through that game with the full 3 points. So we do need to be convincing. At home in the Champions League, we're usually very, very good, particularly when teams come to the Camp Nou. We've got a big pitch, of course, our own fans behind us. We usually cope very, very well with the occasion. It's a massive event for Olympiacos to be coming to the Camp Nou. We have never, ever faced them in the Champions League. So in the Champions League, this will be the very, very first meeting between Barcelona and Olympiacos. But of course, we will be facing them again when we go to Greece to face them in the reverse fixture later on in this group stage. So of course, Barcelona never faced Olympiacos in the Champions League. One person, though, who does know Olympiacos very, very well, and one person that does have ties to the Greek side, is our coach, Ernesto Valverde. He's actually coached Olympiacos in 2 different periods. He coached them in the 08-09 season. He won the league in that season, and then he coached them for 2 years from 2010 to 2012. And in those 2 years, he also won league titles. So far, 3 times in 3 years that he's coached Olympiacos in the league, he has won 3 Super League titles every single time, every single season. He is very, very highly appreciated and very, very highly regarded with the Olympiacos fans. He is very much, I would almost say, a cult hero. They really do love him. He went there, he won 3 Super League titles in 3 seasons, he won 2 Greek Cups as well, and they didn't just like him, they didn't just like the success, they liked the way that he presented himself, they liked his style of football, and he really did have a very good spell in his managerial career at Olympiacos, and we'll certainly see that, I think, when the travelling fans come over to the Camp Nou, they will show their appreciation for Ernesto Valverde, because he is very, very highly regarded by them. But that's basically all we've got with Olympiacos. We've not got a lot of previous experience against them. They're not doing brilliantly well in the Greek Super League. They're not doing well this Champions League. On paper, it should be a comfortable game. On paper, we should be going into this game with a very confident attitude. We should fully expect the 3 points. And what we really should be talking about is how many goals are we going to win by. But of course, the attitude that we have to arrive at the game is we've got to go out there, we've got to give our best, we've got to first of all set ourselves up right, and then you go for the win. We can't take them lightly. It's the Champions League. Anything could happen. But what we should be going out there and doing, by all means, is winning this game, and in some ways, winning it quite comfortably. So what we're going to have a look at now, of course, is the predicted lineup. Now, I have gone with a slightly interesting and maybe controversial. A lot of you guys may not agree with the people that I picked for the lineup, so I want to see what you guys think of this lineup. I don't think it's the one that Ernesto Valverde necessarily is going to choose, but just have a look at this. This is what I want to go with. Ter Stegen in goal, and that, first of all, was quite a tricky decision. I wasn't absolutely convinced to start Ter Stegen in goal. Nothing at all to do with performances, but I just think this season we've kind of got to look for games where we can include Cillessen, and there's not an awful lot of games that he's going to have this season. This, at home against Olympiacos in the Champions League, could potentially be one where Valverde says, go on then, Cillessen, you can start the game. But the only doubt that I would have about that is Ter Stegen right now is playing so incredibly well. Do you really want to take him out the team? Because he's so on form, he's so confident, he's been absolutely brilliant so far this season. Do you want to disrupt that flow? Do you want to take him out the team? I would personally say no. That's why I would start him. Then I've got Lucas Digne, and I think he should definitely start. Not only because he deserves a game, much like Cillessen, there's not an awful lot of opportunities that he's had so far this season, but I also think Jordi Alba against Atletico Madrid wasn't at his best. He hasn't been terrible this season, Alba. I think in places he's been very, very good. So that's why I think Digne now Alba was under par, he should be replaced. That's the way it should be. If you don't perform, somebody else gets a chance, somebody else can come in, somebody else can prove themselves. That's the way it should be. Even though we're a top club, we've still got to have that competition for places. You cannot allow players to get comfortable. I would go with Umtiti and Mascherano. I would take Piqué at the firing line once again at the Camp Nou. Mascherano, whenever he's played this season, has come in. He's been very, very good. Alongside Umtiti, those two are very, very solid in my opinion. I would go with right back with Semedo. The reason being for that, I think he's comfortable there. He's played very well so far in the Champions League this season, and he deserves to start at right back simply because I don't want to see Sergio Roberto in that position. The position that I want to see him in is his natural midfield role. I've got Busquets in midfield. I would like to rest him, but the problem is there's not a real out-and-out replacement for Sergio Busquets. What you could potentially do is put Gomez in that holding role and start Paulinho a little more advanced. That's something you could potentially do because of the strength of the opposition. Maybe that would be an option, but off the bat I would say Busquets in that holding role alongside Roberto playing in midfield. I want to see what he's got, and I picked Andre Gomez because I think if you're Valverde and you've sort of thrown him out onto the right wing against Atletico Madrid, a very, very difficult game, he threw him out onto the right, and when Andre Gomez actually came infield into his natural role, when he played central, he looked a lot better. He looked a lot more confident, he looked a lot more comfortable on the ball because that's where he's supposed to play. So I think we owe him now the fact that he can start this game and he can show from the very beginning what he can do. He deserves that. He's not a winger, we know that, but what can he do in midfield? I think he deserves a chance to prove himself, to carry on what he was doing against Atletico when he was in that central role, and say, you know what, play in your preferred position like Roberto. They can both play there and they can both show what they can do in this Champions League tie. I would finish off the lineup with Denis Suarez, Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. Now on other days I would like to see Deulofeu in there. The only thing is I think Denis, after not playing at all against Atletico, surely he has to play this game. He's been in such good form recently. He's been so good when called upon. He deserves to start this game after playing no minutes at all against Atletico Madrid. I would also start Luis Suarez. A lot of people would say, you know, rest him, give him a chance out the team, let him have a bit of recovery time, but he was so good in that second half against Atletico. He had his confidence back, he was running at players, he was taking on players, he got a goal of course. Leave him in the team. While somebody's confident, while they're on form, while they're starting to get back into the swing of things, leave Suarez in the team and see what he can do. And of course people have been saying as well, should we rest Lionel Messi? The attitude that Messi has, he won't want to miss out on this. He'll want to go out there, he'll want to score goals, he'll want to take part. He probably is a bit jaded. He's been, you know, jet setting, of course. He's been to Argentina, he's performed heroics there. That would have taken a lot out of him. But what I would say is, if we're 2-0 up, if we're 3-0 up in the second half, it would not hurt to give Messi a rest. Take him off, but I would say start him. We feel a lot more comfortable when we start the games with Messi, when he's there and when we can depend on him. If we're winning the game, then you can take him off, then you can give him the rest ahead of the game against Malaga on Saturday evening. So I want to know your guys' thoughts. Like I said, not everybody will agree with that lineup. I'm sure some people want to see Paulinho. That's another possibility. I think Deulofeu could come into it as well. Let me know your thoughts on the lineup down below, guys, and as always, of course, let me know your score predictions as well. I am going to go with a 4-0 victory on the night. I expect Barcelona to arrive in this game in the right mindset. We can score goals against this Olympiacos side. They are are not great defensively. We've got a real chance to put down a real marker here at the Camp Nou in the Champions League and move on to 9 points and 3 out of 3 wins in the group stage so far. So leave your lineup predictions down below, guys. Leave your score predictions down below. I will see you tomorrow before the game with the lineup and after the game, of course, dissecting what is going to go on. Enjoy the game when it comes around. I will see you very, very soon indeed. But until then, as always, Vasca el Barça. Barça! Barça! Barça!